Patrick, that was what I would kindly call a game one clunker for our Timberwolves.
Yeah, second half was fantastically brutal. 51 threes. We think that's the formula for beating that team. Shoot, throw up 51 threes. They took 21 threes.
Yep.
They played basketball. We played horse, throwing up rocks. And of course, the guys off the bench were incredibly rotten. Nah was throwing rock, just firing it up as soon as he got it, and like he was the good cousin instead of the mediocre cousin, and and then Nas, he's been in this funk here now for a while.
Yep.
I think he's writing his ticket out of town, don't you, Nas? I don't think he's coming back.
That
I
was
don't think
yeah. That was
not if you keep Randall, but yeah,
right.
the DiVincenzo, Walker and 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 the three bench guy and
Nas.
Dodge
Yep.
went 5 for 28 on threes. So they were saying they were open shots, but once you get them rushing their shots like the Oklahoma City defense does, they're not really open because you're now shooting in a panic situation. But Randall, let's face it, if it wasn't for Randall in the first half, would have they been in as good a shape as they were? I mean, they did hold them to 44 points, but
Yep.
uh, Randall was great. Nobody else was in the first half, and then the second half, they really clamped down on Randall, didn't let him get the stuff he was getting, and they're listen, they won 68 games. They were number one in the league in defense and number three in offense. This is a real basketball team you're playing. This is not this is not LeBron and Luca and a bunch of nobodies. And this is not a team without Steph. This is a real team, and this is a better team than the Timberwolves. So something fluky almost would have to happen for them to win it and to win the series, but they can, maybe make it more competitive than it was in the second half last night. But, it's why the gamblers, everybody was kind of building it up as a close series, but what were the odds? About 3-2, right? Something
Yep.
like that. So it was
Heavily
like,
favored.
yeah. So Oklahoma City was heavily favored, but and then you do have the SGA problem. He's going to shoot free throws. At one point, the free throws were 22-1. Now, part of that is you're shooting 51 threes. You're not gonna get fouled shooting threes. So, and Rudy getting two fouls in 2 minutes to start the game,
Yep.
and he didn't play at all. That's one weapon that you would like to, when they take Hartenstein and Holmgren out of the game when neither of them is playing, they're pretty small. But if Rudy's sitting over there on the bench, that doesn't do you any good either. But it was just a mismatch the second half. It was just a beating, man.
70-40.
Yeah, 70-40. Yeah,
Incredible.
yeah. When you look at 114 points, and you think, you know, if there's 7 seconds to go in the half, you got the ball and they got 42 points. That steal from Randall there, and then they go down and then he fouls the guy with 1 second to go. That's kind of I wouldn't say that's a turning point, but that's hey, you got a chance to go in the locker room up 8 and you end up going up 4. That's, against that team, they go in and say, hey, we're in good shape. Don't worry here, fellas. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a beating, and it really eye opener to what you know. Let's face it, the first two rounds were easy. The Lakers had a two-man team, and one of them is 42 years old. He got 40 years old. He played great early, LeBron, but he's 40 years old. And the other guy's a fat ass who doesn't play defense. Okay, that's their other superstar. Now he's good offensively, but he was sick a game or two. And then you're playing the other team without Steph. If Steph plays, you might not win that series. For sure, you're not getting rid of him in 5 games. So, this isn't some great impressive run to the quarter to the Western Conference Finals. It's fun, it's nice, but no, neither of those teams is on the same planet as Oklahoma City.
You also cannot, in my opinion, completely concede the paint.
Yes, yeah, that's
Like you're
true.
going to have to get to the basket. Like
Yeah,
you just if you can't, like if you're going to shoot 51 threes for the next 3 games, I think you're done after 4. You're going to have to get to the basket.
yeah, and try it to some extent. Now, when they got down, they just kept pumping. But you're right. I mean, what Ant never did he get in the lane like twice? They kept him from getting in the lane. I saw his quotes. Chris Hine had a good late piece. It wasn't in the print, but I got a late piece about him saying, "I just got to give up the ball. I got to give up the ball and go find some open spaces and then drive." But because when he had the ball, they were double teaming him all the time. So they they are quick enough and good enough defensively that they can double team guys, and it still doesn't look like anybody's open. I mean, they let you throw up a three if you want to do that, but
Yep.
they are. And they got these athletes that we really don't know about. Like Jalen Williams is terrific, and then this Wiggins guy comes off the
Aaron
bench, and
Wiggins.
they
Yep.
got they got they got the other Williams guy who changed his first name because his name, Kendrick.
Kenrich.
He's
He
now
just came
calling
off the
him.
bench and hit a 3 and hit
Yeah,
had like
yeah.
5 points that helped swing the game completely.
They had a draft where they got Holmgren 2 years ago. They had Holmgren, 2022, I guess. They had Holmgren, they got Jalen Williams, and they got the other Williams in that same draft. They got, they had two first rounders because they basically conceded it for a couple. They had the good run. They had Westbrook when he was a great player, and they had
Harden. Yep.
Harden early, and they had Kevin Durant there for 2 3 years. I mean, they had an unbelievable team. They made the finals at least once, maybe twice, and then the GM down there just said to hell with it and tanked it for a couple of years, and they tore it up in the draft, and then one of the guys they drafted, Giddy, they decided they didn't. I think maybe he needs the ball more than they want their guard to have the ball or something. They traded him for that Caruso, who's a great defender.
Yep.
And I don't know. That's a well put together team, and I don't see much hope. But the Wolves. I don't believe that the second half's going to be. I don't think we're going to see that again. But
Right.
they got to get more help from Randall. I mean, that's, I mean, he was, as I said, without him in that first half, they, they would have gotten beat 120-40.
And they were up by 4.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like they actually mucked it up. That's the
Yes.
thing that gives me some optimism about the potential here is I mean they had a awful second half.
Oh,
They
it
were
was
absolutely
horrible.
incompetent.
Yes, yes, they were.
So
And Finchie was even forced to call two timeouts during one 10-point run to try to do something. And
he didn't even bother to complain about
uh,
SGA because it would have
uh,
sounded so stupid if he had
yes,
focused on that one thing.
and he also said that we talked about that it doesn't do any good. Okay, there's the guy is great at drawing fouls. Let's face it. He knows when to fall down. He makes a little bit of contact. He's kind of a thin guy, so it doesn't look like he's muscling anybody, right? And then he can hit the floor with the best of them, and he's gonna. Well, the fouls were but one reason being the 3 pointers, as I said, but the foul shots were 22-1 at one point.
Yeah,
But that's they're earning them. They're going to the basket, letting you bang into them, and we're just firing up threes. This isn't a 51 3-point
that's the
shooting.
Rockets
Yeah,
from 6 years ago.
that's the Celtics now. 50.
Yeah,
You saw, well, that worked.
yeah.
I especially what after about his third fire for no reason, I would have taken Nah and sat him down at the end of the bench and say, "You're done for the night. You got to do. You're not a good shooter. Okay, you basically in this playoff run have played well once. You had one decent game. You've pretty much stunk. I don't want you out there firing up threes. You know, give Jalen Clark I got my guy Jalen in there for what, 5 minutes maybe?
You did. I think two rotations too. I think two separate times he came off
They
the
thought
bench.
maybe he could stay in front of SGA or
They need
something.
someone to pick up. They need someone to absorb some of those fouls.
Yes, that's
It
it.
doesn't always have to be Jaden McDaniels.
No, that's and Jaden, did a great job on him, but he's also, he there were a couple of fouls on McDaniels that they just called him on McDaniels instead of him. But it's not like, you know what you're facing when you get in a series with him. He's a foul creating machine, and that's one reason he's going to be the MVP, right? I
Yeah.
think it's a tribute, though, when you watch this team. It's a tribute to how great Jokic is, that he got that team, that he dragged that Denver team to 7 games against them, because they aren't on that Denver team, except for him, is not on the same planet as
No, God, no.
OKC.
The Wolves are the Wolves as a team are better,
Yeah, I think
but
they are.
he's the best player among them all. So
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, it was an eye opener, and it's not like the first game against the Golden State, when they just stunk. They just
mhm.
stunk. They played last. They didn't stink last night. They just got so badly outplayed and ended up, the only thing they could think of was to fire up 3 pointers.
Yeah.
And it was not a miserable effort. It was just what's going to happen if you miss shots against that team, because they get down to they're a team of runs, and they get 10 points in a minute, and there's nothing you can do about it if you're gonna keep missing shots, and if you're firing up threes, you're gonna miss shots, and you're gonna have long rebounds, and there they go.
Also, Patrick, last night the Wolves 19 turnovers turned
Yes,
into 31 points.
yeah,
You,
they're
you're
turning it over a lot lately, aren't
they
they?
are way too much.
Here's okay. Here, let me say this. They practiced their turnover game in the fourth quarter of game 4, which they had won. And they
Hmm.
played like a bunch of jackasses in that fourth quarter, clowning around and dribbling in front of guys like he's a Harlem Globetrotter or something, trying to make them like fools. They turned it over 12 times, and then dribbling it out is a turnover too. So 13 times. And, in a quarter, and then right then, you know, he should have called timeout twice in that quarter and said, "Get your heads out of your know what, and keep playing basketball." And then they turned it over like crazy again in Game 5. So the last, what it was, 21 in Game 5, right? 21 turnovers, I think
Yeah, I think that's
21.
right. Yeah.
So they had 33 turnovers in their last 5 quarters going into this game. So they got sloppy with the basketball, and they coming out of that other series, and it just stayed the same way. And this is a defense where you're going to turn it over 13, 14 times anyway, if because they're that good defensively.
Yep.
But they played stupid in that fourth quarter in game 4, and then they played sloppy in the game 5. They were just better than Golden State without Steph, and they won anyway. But they're good. They went into this series with a sloppy ethic almost, and that killed them again. So, and Mike Connolly is, he might have got some open shots against Golden State but he's a step slow for this collection, don't you
Yep.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and the problem though is he's the only guy that you probably
he got.
should trust with the basketball. But if he can't play in the series, yeah, that creates a huge
Yeah,
problem.
well, you saw that even his threes after a while were rushed.
Yep.
I mean, because
They're
he
great
was.
defensively. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, when Connolly made the threes in that game 5, it was all out of the offense, and they were, it was all out of pace and everything. And now he was just rushing it up. So, it's I don't know. I don't think there's any possibility they can win the series, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to look as bad as it looked last night.
The guy I love, the former Nick Hartenstein.
Oh God, yeah.
I I really
How
like
did
him.
Tibbs let that guy get away?
Seems like a
Because
Tibbs. He seems like the
oh,
perfect Tibbs guy.
perfect Tibbs guy, because he doesn't have. He only shoots 3-foot bunnies. That's
But
all
it's
he
the
ever
floater. He's
shoots.
got it perfected.
He got the little floater, and he got he comes in for Holmgren, and sometimes they play them together, not very often. But he comes in for Holmgren, you got a completely different beast to deal with because he's thick and what a great signing for them to say that. And everybody, I was reading back how they got him, and they said they didn't really feel like they needed a big man, but that Presti, who was the genius GM down there, said, if I can get this one, I'll take him because he liked everything about him because he gives them another sense of ruggedness. I mean, he's another guy that's gonna muscle you out of the way, and he's Rudy. Rudy don't want to play against him. I guarantee you.
No, because he's that type of guy who would have been a star in 1987.
Yeah, that's right.
Can
He
you
would.
imagine him back there? Because I mean,
Yeah.
he is talented.
How about him with Rick Mahorn? He would have been a bad. He could have played for the Bad Boys. I'll tell
Oh
you.
yeah, God yeah,
He said, "Fuck,
absolutely.
I can't believe." I guess Tibbs just didn't have the money to keep him, but I can't believe Tibbs wanted to get rid of him. So I think the NBA is in big trouble though. They're good. They got the they got because I like Indiana in this other series too. I think they're going to end up with. I
Oh
said it the other day. OKC in Indiana.
well,
Everybody say, "Oh, the ratings are terrible." Okay, fine.
the only team that I think the league is pulling for right now is the Knicks. Because if you
Oh
get the
God,
Knicks, you're
yeah.
gold.
Yes, yeah. They should say, you know how you guys give SGA the good whistle, fellas. We want that for everybody on the Knicks. You know.
Brunson will
Yeah.
foul hunt as well, so he'll get
Yeah,
those
yeah,
calls.
Brunson. Yeah, he kind of dives into you and does that. And Cat's, don't foul out Cat, but Cat's got
Yeah,
uh, Cat's got the Euro step down something fierce right now. Though I saw him have one the other day. He had to be 18 feet from the basket, and he never dribbled, and he got a layup. God, the Euro step drives me crazy, but I don't know. Anyway, it was the second half was alarming. It was alarming what an absolute mismatch blowout it was. So,
yeah, yeah.
meanwhile, are we going to play baseball today? We're
I think we're
doing this.
supposed to.
We're doing this before a little bit before the 12:10 start. That was quite a monsoon we had there for a day and a half, man. But I guess they're gonna start Joe Ryan today, right? In game
That's
one, and then
yeah,
Paddock in game two. So
yep.
I think I'd pitch him the other way around. I'd rather have, but I suppose maybe Ryan threw around 100 pitches last time, so maybe they figure they can keep his pitches down. But anyway, yeah, I think tickets are available if you want to go down there. I love the fact that they postponed today's game, so those tickets are now good for September 20th. Or,
Doubleheader.
the good or whatever they would have been, or the Tuesday game, I guess. If you got a ticket for any game in this series, come on in and bring your friends. We can let you all in. If you got one, bring the family. You're gonna have 4,000 people there in this lousy weather. So there was nobody there on Monday, and congratulations to the people for being smart enough. They're going to get rained on. So
Yeah, and I think it's supposed to rain until at least there's a chance of rain until 6 o'clock tonight. At which point it's supposed to be cloudy but stop. So we could be looking at a full day because they'll wait. I think now,
yeah, they got to get.
unless Cleveland leaves because they do play tomorrow against Detroit. But I don't know.
Oh, it's supposed to rain again tonight.
No, it's supposed to rain this afternoon. It's supposed to be drizzling until like 6
Well,
p.m.
well, you gotta play. If you start, you gotta play. You can't stop. You gotta, what I was watching, what game was I watching the other night? And they were like in the seventh, and it was sheets coming down Fenway or someplace, and they kept playing, man. They wanted to, they wanted to get that damn thing done. So, anyway, I think it was like a 10 or 11-1 game too. They ought to give the umps the idea. You can turn it into a 7 inning game if it's a rout. If you think it's a rout, you can just say, that's it, we're done.
So explain this though. How do we have how so the Twins go to Cleveland and they don't play a game when it's not raining because of the threat of rain. But yeah,
Yeah.
I saw the Yankees and Padres like 3 weeks ago playing in a driving monsoon in
Yes.
Yankee Stadium. So what are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know. They give the teams control. They until the
Mm-hmm.
last supposedly the last series, then it's up to the umps. You know, everybody every team should have a weatherman who says
They
this is
do.
who's no, I know, but who's in charge? Who
Oh,
says let's? But these guys, you know, they'll say, "Well, it might rain in the fourth inning, so we're not going to start." And then you never know when you're going to play. That's what happened in Cleveland. They
yep.
said, "Listen, you're in Cleveland. You're next to that big lake. You don't know what the weather's going to do, so just play." You know?
They should pass a rule. The judgment should never be made on starting pitching.
No.
Because it's always starting pitching, right? Like if our
Yeah.
starter gets out there, throws an inning, and it rains,
Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
problems.
Yes,
I
we
don't
do.
care.
No, that's true. You
Starter
know,
reliever, I don't care what you do.
if you're a manager and you're yeah, that's what you got, and you're afraid it's your starter's only going to get 2 innings. Go to the turn it into a instant bullpen game. Tell the
Justin
guy he's
Topa.
tell him he's pitching the next day. Yeah, yes, Justin Topa. So
Amen.
anyway, it will be. Hopefully, they can play some ball here, and maybe the weekend will be a little better. With who's coming to town? I should know who's
Kansas
coming to
City.
Kansas. Oh yeah, the Royals.
Royals in town.
The Royals. They might. The weather might be a little better. We might. We might. I just my weather problem was I had. About 2 days ago, the pool was kind of down in water, so I put I put about 3 inches, a couple inches maybe back in it to get it up in the middle of the skimmer. And I was sitting there yesterday saying, "Boy, I sure wish I hadn't done that." Because if it goes over the top, then your world is ruined. So
Oh God.
it was pool ownership is a really bad idea, but especially at my age. But what the hell? Because when pool ownership's a bad idea, when you can't do anything, it's always got to be the guy that comes over and does stuff for you. When you're a lot of pool owners actually know how it works. I
Uh,
don't exactly know how it works.
it'll be a
So
problem I never have,
yes,
thankfully.
well, that's I can sell you this house if
I
you
do
want.
not want to buy your house. I
Okay.
do not want to buy your house unless you fill in the pool
Oh,
before I
yes,
buy it.
right. Which I should have done 2 years ago, and then everything would be fine.
All right, Patrick. We'll talk to you
All
on
righty.
Friday.
Well, good luck against that team. They are good, man. OKC.
All right. See ya.
See you.
Royce
Bye.
Unchained.